Hi, so if you're preparing for an interview right now, my number one tip is to download the job specification document as soon as you can, because they disappear off the systems and you do not want to lose that because you'll need it as part of your preparation. So once you've got that on your computer and you know that you're going to interview, first thing I do is under each bullet point, I annotate it, I write how I meet that criteria, especially in the bits at the beginning. And if there's something on like line 1, you really need to be ready to show how you can meet the requirements of the role. This is going to help you build your confidence, because you may find when you go through it with a fine-tooth comb, even if you've sort of thrown your hat in the ring and you feel like it's maybe above your level, when you start thinking, right, that this is what I meet that aspect of it, this and this, it'll help you think, no, I can see how they should hire me for this position. And everyone who's applying may have strengths in certain areas and weaknesses in others, so you don't necessarily have to meet every single bullet point. So just remember that and don't let that deter you. Sometimes it's good to go to interviews before you're ready and stretch yourself. The next thing that I do is I get a few sheets of A1 paper and I start identifying why I'm applying for the job, the skills that I have, why I want the job, why I'm a strong candidate. Think about things that are my unique selling points. So what would make me stand out personally? And refer to your personal statement when you're doing this, because remember that got your foot in the door in the first place. So you want to be making sure that you're saying that again. Imagine that you've thrown that away now and you need to get across all of that information if you can as part of the interview. But in an easy way, like in an easygoing way. You don't want to appear robotic or like you're just saying bullet points. So that's why I think an A1 sheet of just throwing things down is good, because sometimes if you just write in bullet points on A1 or A4 paper, like I just feel it's a bit structured and sometimes you can feel like you just need to rigidly stick to that. So I just like shove it all over a page and just keep it a little bit wide ranging and like draw arrows to different ideas I have, so that you're just sort of ready to be really fluid in the interview. Tailor it to the organisation. So if you know that you're applying for a particular local authority, be aware of some of the key issues or challenges that they face in that location. Like where I live, there's issues with poor health outcomes, poor housing, and I know what the local authority are doing to tackle those issues, and also the wider requirements of social services as a whole and what they need to target, and then talk about how your sort of skills can contribute to that. So particularly if you're applying for strategic positions, you need to be thinking about trends and what are key issues, not just in your local authority, but nationally as well. Prepare to sell yourself. So think about why they should give you the job. Your experience with a particular sort of group of people is important, and why you maybe were really passionate about working with them and what that's really going to bring forward into the role that you're applying for. Show cultural insight where you can, a strong alignment with anti-oppressive practice, anti-discriminatory practice. Be prepared to back it up with evidence. So some people like the STAR method, but loads of people come back to me and say like, if they've been criticised, it's for not giving enough examples. So just trying to find like examples of exactly what you did is so important. And as part of that, it's thinking, what did I actually do? And not so much background about the context of the situation, background detail, like try and get action orientated and what you took from that situation as quick as you can, because that's a relevant part of where your skills come in and your knowledge. You need to anticipate the realities of the role as well. Reflect on any tensions or challenges you're likely to face and how you would manage those. So it may be, if you're in a management position, managing underperforming staff, and then having some structured bullet points in your head of how you would manage those issues, and also thinking about the type of person you are. So if you're a really supportive and encouraging person, you need to get that across, and think that the last thing you do is sort of go down disciplinary procedures, like you do everything to support individuals first, but also showing awareness of policies. And then if it's a social work specific role, it's thinking that before you go down safeguarding routes with people, you do everything to support them to sort of show their choice, self-determination and respect for individuals and family and private life. Just thinking about those things in the way that you're formatting your answer. So not jumping in and making judgments, like showing that you're someone that thinks holistically. So for example, people do not live in a vacuum. People are not making choices in a vacuum. So if someone's house is maybe in a really poor state, what issues are contributing to that environment? Is it that they've got a situation that's changed? Maybe the support systems are under strain, and you're thinking about what you can do to support that wider unit, whether there's strengths already in their environment or their system that you could pull upon. If there's someone maybe in the situation or case study that you're given that's struggling with drugs or alcohol or a health issue, it's like thinking about how you can support them to take control of their situation. And it's thinking about like the legislation that we're working under. It's always human rights based, and that needs to be at the forefront. And it's just about taking a step back and thinking like the wider implications of the situation and how you're going to safeguard that individual, making sure that you're being precise with different aspects of the legislation. So trying to look at like specific sections, and you could just like add that bit of knowledge in, just like gem up on those things, like, oh, I'd consider section so and so, just so that you look like you've made an effort to get that across. Don't bog yourself down, but you need to know like some of the key headlines and the key aspects of legislation for the role that you're applying for. You're going to be asked to show your value base, so you need to show that you're aware that you need to act with integrity and respect for individuals. Your principles and your values are so important, that you accept people, you don't jump to conclusions about people. If you are asked to discuss a case study, think about what you'd actually practically do day to day. That's the easiest way to approach it. So literally like starting with, I'd check the background details of the person. If there was any information missing, I'd triangulate information. I'd speak to family members. I'd do this and that. Like just literally think, right, I've just had this referral land on my desk. It's going to be minimal with what they know. So you need to be finding out more information. And that sort of helps you to lead into the answer that you're giving. And I have loads and loads of videos in my interview folder on this topic, which you can find on my channel. So it's useful to think about some key ideas impacting social work and how we're expected to be practicing at the moment. So some things that come to mind for me are trauma-informed approaches, restorative practice, relational social work, co-production, being culturally aware, anti-racism in practice, all of those like buzzwords, but be prepared to explain what they look like in practice and how that impacts your practice approach. You need to be demonstrating a growth mindset. So someone who is willing to learn from setbacks and is willing to learn and adjust their approach. You need to show your commitment to CPD. They're investing in someone who is willing to grow, adapt. And the good thing about, say, working for a charitable organisation or a local authority is they do have resources where you can keep up to date with training, as opposed to like if you're independent, you have to source that yourself. And I think that's something that's really worth thinking about. Something that's always helped me is it's promoted my well-being in the role when I have gone for these CPD opportunities. Like becoming a best interest assessor in the UK has meant that I felt more confident with the Mental Capacity Act, which is fundamental to upholding people's rights in adult social work. And it really helped me grow in my role, gave me practice confidence, and things like that are really good to throw in just to show your enthusiasm. And also if you're willing to sort of benefit the wider team as well. Like if I'm a practice educator and I'm there like as someone who wants to develop others. So think about how you can have a ripple effect on the others that you're going to be working alongside, and just anything that shows that you're a good team player, because people want to work with people they actually like and can imagine working with. I think in social work, obviously we're dealing with really risky scenarios quite a lot of the time, so you need to be very clear with how you'd manage risk, thinking about information sharing, thresholds, risk assessment, protection plans, anything like that that shows sort of your tangible knowledge is key. And end on a strong note and ask a question relevant to show that enthusiasm at the end and that you really would put everything into it. Leave them with a sense of your passion and professionalism, and don't waffle, stick to your answers. That's why it's good to really think ahead and annotate the application form. Never be negative about previous roles, always be considering like what your previous experience would bring you into the particular role that you're applying for. This really is about your ability to collaborate with people, your values, all of that. Let your personality shine through, because really you want to be working with people who want to hire you for who you are. And I think the 3 Ps of social pedagogy, if you type them into Google, look for Thempra's website, you'll find them. And it's about bringing your professionalism, so knowledge of legal frameworks and things, but also your personal, makes you who you are. So if you're a creative person, like I love art and things, I think that makes me a better communicator. Bring things through that really make you shine, because it's good for them to get a sense for that, because that's the sort of thing that makes you gel well within a team, having interests. And if you've got a particular interest in an aspect of social work, like hoarding, for example, it really makes you a massive asset, because we don't always have the most resources, and the best resource we have is each other. So make sure you get that across as well.